Hey guys, what's up? Today we have a really cool suppressor, in my opinion, from Replicator USA. So let's look at the Ventus-9. Let's get into it. Alright, so full disclosure before we actually get into everything. Replicator USA, they did reach out to me. They did send me this can. This is my can to keep, and I did not pay for it. So, if the review has to be taken with a grain of salt, you do that, but I'm going to tell you straight up off the bat, I'm impressed. All right, I am very impressed. And the fact that I have the can, they gave me the can, and now I get to do the review, I believe that allows me to be a lot more unbiased because this is mine. No matter what I say, they're not requiring me to send the can back, and I don't have to pay for it. So if it was trash, I'm not out any coin for it, right? If it's great, then yeah, I get an awesome can. So let's get into some specs. That's how we do it around here. We're going to go over some specs and some information that some people really just want to know, some people don't really care about. I'm not a huge specs guy, but we're going to do it anyway. So I'm going to throw the specs up on the screen, and then we'll talk about what comes in the box and just get into this whole review, all right? Let's get into it. All right, so some specifications here for the Ventus-9. We have a length of 6.5 inches, a diameter of 1.6 inches. We have a weight of 15.2 ounces. Material is proprietary Elementium 3D Inconel, right? So this is 3D printed. We'll get into that in a second. Minimum barrel length is for a 308 is 16 inches, and for 9mm there is no limit. We also have the finish is black Cerakote. Some standard features on here, which is pretty dang cool. Industry standard thread mount, so that's the hub mount, the 1 3/8 by 24 or 1.375 by 24. Incredibly low back pressure, we'll talk about that. Specialized ceramic Inconel, 3D design, simulated and optimized solid one-piece construction. Since it's 3D printed, that makes sense. 3D printed, welded, non-meterless at a time, so they haven't metered this guy, so there you go. Full auto rated, comes with a wrench, a bore alignment rod, direct thread adapter for these different threads right here that you have, and any other options selected below. So you can select some different features from below when you go to order this can, if you do order this can. And MSRP is about $1,100, something like that. And as far as I understand, according to talking to Mario, the guy that over there, the only way to get these cans right now is to order through their website. So you order through their website, they send it to your SOT, they transfer it to you, that whole rigmarole, how that goes. So that I do not believe they have any dealers at the time, right? You have to go through your own SOT. So, like it talked about before, the way that this thing comes is it comes in this big, interesting tubular thing, right? So this is how it comes. You get your suppressor, obviously. You get a tool, right? This is kind of reminiscent of a lot of different other suppressor tools. It has two little teeth on it that correspond with the little notches. Very well made, and it corresponds to the notches. And then you would use whatever other tool you have for your muzzle device or your adapter to tighten down your other piece. So this tool goes to the suppressor. Your other tools would go to your other devices. And it does come with an alignment rod. This is kind of cool. This is actually the first can or company that I'm aware of that as a standard, they send you an alignment rod. That's kind of cool. I can't imagine that it costs a terrible whole lot of a bunch of money to make these things or produce these or supply them. I mean, it is more than just a precision piece of bar steel. It's more than just a piece of bar steel. It's precision, right? So it has to be straight. So there is some QC that goes into that. But the fact that they give you this, that should tell you in and of itself that these guys care, that these guys want you to be invested in your suppressor. They don't want you just to throw your suppressor on a host and just go willy-nilly at it and blow your can up. They don't want you to do that, right? So they give you the tool, sometimes an expensive tool, to help you keep or make sure your can's aligned before you go to shoot it. So that's actually pretty cool. It says it comes with direct threads. Mine did not come with a direct thread since they sent it to me. We had talked before the video, and I told them I already have all the mounts and things that I need for it, especially since it is the hub mount compatible threads, the 1 3/8 by 24. That is amazing. So without saying the name of another flow-through company that I don't have anything to do with right now, this flow-through can does have that hub mount compatibility. That other company doesn't, and that's one of the major reasons I'm not touching it. I'm not going to buy one. I'm not really requesting any from them. I want to be able to use suppressors on multiple hosts, and if a suppressor company decides to make a proprietary thread pattern on the back, or you have to use their muzzle devices, well then I'm kind of tied into it. And I'm tied to like one host, like Surefire. I'll throw them out there. I like Surefire cans, and I have a couple different mounts, and I think I have 2 different guns that can use those mounts. But those guns can only run Surefire cans, and my Surefire cans can only go on those guns. Does that make sense? Whereas companies like this open the doors for you and allow you to use unselfishly their mounts, competitors' mounts, whoever's mounts. They're not worried about the mounts. They want you to get the can and utilize the can the best way that you want to. And that's awesome. To me, like I just said, unselfish, I think it's a very unselfish move. I understand part of what people want to do their own mounts because they could do their own QC and all that stuff. Make sure that you're using their mounts. I can understand that a little bit. But holy cow, folks, we live in an amazing day where people can make good mounts, good QC, and this should work. So anyway, that's a rabbit trail. I'm not gonna go down that one anymore. But Replicator USA does use the hub standard mount. So anyway, that's what comes in the box. That's your major specs for you. As you can see, we kind of have our spinning table of wonder out here. These are mounts that I have that will work with this guy. Right? We have direct threads. Since this is a 9mm bore, they have a 5.56 and a 308 caliber, or 30 caliber. But this is the 9mm bore. I can use the 5.8 by 24 for like my 30 cals. 9mm are half by 28, so my half by 28 threads. But I can use those direct thread mounts with this guy, no problem at all. We also have the Chemo, the Xeno from Dead Air. We have, I can't remember exactly which one this is called, but it's from JK Armament. It's for their War Eagle. I could use that guy. The Yankee Hill, actually, their Phantom, Trilug, and Booster are all hub threaded, right? So they all work on this guy. So I have a vast variety of mounts from different companies that I can utilize on the suppressor. I think that's really cool. And when we get to shooting, we'll actually show that and mount those guys up. What is really cool about this can and what is setting it apart from the traditional cans, and a lot of companies are going to this nowadays, is this is 3D printed and it is a flow-through can. And this is my first 3D printed and flow-through can, right? I've never dipped my foot into this arena before, so I was very excited to go test it, which we'll get to the footage in just a second. I was very excited to go test it, and I can honestly say it makes a difference. The flow-through makes a difference, all right? In back pressure, well, that's the main thing, in back pressure. On my pistol, it produced way more than noticeably less blowback to my face, way less than traditional cans, all right? On some of my tuned guns, right, my AR-10, that is tuned to run suppressed. On my AKs, those are tuned to run suppressed. They wouldn't run with this. I didn't take the time at the time to adjust them and everything, but they weren't running on the Ventus-9 because the Ventus-9 doesn't produce that back pressure that those cans are tuned for, right? It's almost like you don't need to tune your guns if you use flow-through cans. And that may not be specific towards Replicator, right? Other flow-through cans probably do the same thing, but that just goes to show you that flow-through is real. It's not just a hype. It's not just a marketing ploy. It actually does something, all right? So, without further ado, let's jump into the range footage. Let's check this guy out on a bunch of different hosts and see how it actually sounds and looks. All right, let's try this again. That front sight came off. Don't know where it went, and I think it's the last time I'm using those front sights. Anyway, watch the gas blowback in my face, or lack thereof, honestly. Here, let's do it like, whatever, like this. I think you can see it. Here we go. It's like 6 shots. I don't know how well you can tell, but I'm not getting peppered, like, at all in my face. And that's kind of unheard of in a cycling, and it's not vomiting in my face. That's cool. That's proof in the pudding. This is where this guy, I don't think he's designed and made for pistols. I was even told that this probably would not cycle on a pistol. I'm actually seeing that it cycles very well on a pistol, even pretty decently with some really dummied down subs. Shoot supers through it, you get that crack down there, but you're not getting that crap shot back in your face. I am very happy. I'm very happy. That is very interesting. All right, so there you go. There you go. Check that out. Barely any at all. Put the focus out there. Look, barely any at all haze fuzz on that suppressor. It's slightly damp. A couple rounds. That guy's working. So we put a good old squirt, dollop, whatever you want to call it, of wire pulling gel in here. I'm going to try to feel it on my face, and then we're going to look at that glass. Again, look at the glass. Perfectly clean now. If it doesn't have any of it, I'll be shocked. I expect it will have some, but we'll see. We'll see. Again, we're just going to shoot off into the dirt, and here we go. We got like 10 rounds. Okay, it did have a little bit. Did have a little bit. Hopefully you can see that. There is some there. But that, even that, look at that. That is not even close. That's still usable. That's not even close to what usually would be vomiting back at you. And that was with a lot. I put a big squirt of that stuff in there. And that's all you get out of it. That is not bad. So if you shot it dry, you wouldn't have, I didn't have that problem at all. Like, you saw the glass. It was just barely hazy. Barely even hazy when it was wet, or when it was dry. When it's wet, you get a little bit of that. But just a little bit. That's impressive. That's proof in the pudding right there. All right, guys. So here's some slow-mo. All right. So here's the YHM R9. I'm a huge fan of this can. I like it. But check out that back blast coming out of this can. Right? That pressure and that gas and those particulates are coming right back at your face. Okay. Here we got the Dead Air Wolfman in full-size configuration. Just slightly out of focus. Sorry about that. I'm shooting all by myself, so it's kind of hard to keep everything in focus. But as you can see, it's spitting back a lot of gas. All right. And here is the Ventus-9. Again, I'm shooting by myself, so it's hard to get everything exactly in frame. But you can tell, you should be able to tell, there is less back pressure coming out of this can. I got one more shot here coming up that really shows it. Way less back pressure coming back in your face. Okay, guys, so there you go. Needless to say, color me impressed. Color me impressed. That's basically what I'm trying to say. I'm a believer now. I'm a big believer in this flow-through stuff. I really wish some of these other companies would jump on the ball as far as the hub mount compatibility in the back, and to allow everybody just to use the mounts that they have. But for now, for pretty much the same price, if not cheaper, Replicator's knocking it out of the park, because their flow-through's working, right? If you noticed on the slow-mo footage and everything, and on the pistol, it was producing so little back pressure. I mean, it blew me away. Even when we ran the can wet, there was splatter on the glass for the on the red dot, right? But it was not the same as when you run traditional baffled cans. Traditional baffled cans, they vomit crap at you. Like, I don't know how else to say it. They crap or they eat. They're dirty. This guy did have some particulates come back, but it was more than just noticeable. It was a significant less blast back. And actually talking to Mario over there at Replicator USA, they didn't expect this to run on pistols because it has such little backblast. So he even was mentioning like, you don't even need to mention running it on pistols because it's probably not going to work. You know, just stick to, you know, the PCCs and all the other hosts. I was like, okay. And I was like, well, I'm going to try it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I honestly have to say, this thing is, well, it is my favorite 9mm pistol can right now because of that backblast, because it reduces that backblast. Now, it is the trade-off, and I'm sure this is probably across the board as far as flow-through cans, the trade-off is it is venting more of that gas. That's how it works. It vents that gas forward, right? So it is going to produce more volume, as it were, right? So it is going to be a little bit louder is what I'm trying to say. But it was still quiet. Even with subs, it was still more than pleasant. It was perfectly fine. Even with supers, it wasn't hurting my ears, it wasn't snapping. Some suppressors, yeah, it might be like a blast forwarding device, and it's going to be a little snappy and loud. This guy was not snappy and loud, and it reduced that back pressure. Whereas if you had another can that's fully sealed and all this stuff and traditional baffles, it was quieter, but you're getting peppered in the face every time you shoot it, specifically on pistols. This guy does a fantastic, phenomenal job of reducing the volume and then reducing that backblast. So it reduces not only the blast to your face, which I've mentioned 1,000 times now, but the wear and tear on your firearms. The fact that I don't have to have my guns tuned, right, to run suppressors, I can have them operate normally, and he's not going to increase that pressure, which increases the wear and tear on your parts, on your firearms. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, guys, so there you go. I'm going to quit before I start talking in circles again about flow-through and mention that another 100,000 times. As you can tell, I'm very excited about this can. I'm extremely excited of how it has worked, and I would really love to see how well their 5.56 and 30 cal versions work. If they do the same thing, which Mario says that they do the same as far as reducing that back pressure, man, it would really help your firearms not have that excessive wear from traditional baffle design cans, right? I love all my other cans. My other cans are great, right? But there is something special about this technology, and I hope a lot of these other companies jump on this and really move forward and catch up to this kind of technology, because it is real. It is real. It's working, and it's made me a believer. So anyway, that's it. If you guys got any questions about the Ventus-9 or Replicator USA, please let me know. If enough of you get on here and tell him that you want to see the 5.56 or 30 cal version, maybe he'll send one out. Maybe not. I'm not going to count my chickens before they're laying eggs and stuff like that. But I would love to check those things out, because again, if they work as well as this guy does, I would love to be impressed by them. We'll just say that. All right, y'all be good to be safe. Appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, and everything, and hopefully we'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.